Welcome back to the deep dive. You, the learner, you know this feeling. It's day one, right?
Yeah.
You've got the new course, maybe some inspiring music on, notebooks totally clean, and the motivation is just electric. You're thinking, okay, this time, I'm really going to nail this.
Mm-hmm.
And then, boom, day 14 hits.
Yeah.
That notebook probably got some dust on it. The app notification, suddenly super annoying.
Yeah.
And the energy, it's just, well, it's vanished.
It really has. And that's what we're diving into today, isn't it? This huge obstacle for learners. Why does that fire just go out?
Exactly.
It's like the classic learning burnout scenario. And, the analysis we've looked at, it points pretty clearly in one direction. The problem usually isn't the material, or the teacher, or even the app you're using.
So it's not the tools.
Rarely. The real issue is this kind of missing piece, and that piece is motivation.
Okay.
When you have it, learning feels light, it's exciting, almost effortless sometimes. But without it, it's heavy, it's slow, and frankly, it feels doomed to just stall out.
Okay, so let's get into this. This engine room of learning then. If motivation is the fuel, how are we defining it? The research we saw calls it the energy that pushes you forward. Like it's the engine itself. So our mission today really is to get past this sort of generic advice and help you find your personal, specific, lasting source of that energy, your real why.
And that is exactly where people often stumble. They stop at a general answer. They say something like, oh, I need to learn English because it's useful.
Which it is, obviously.
Well, of course it is, but that's like saying, I need food because it keeps me alive.
I mean,
No, true. But does it spark joy? Does it make you want to jump out of bed and, learn verb conjugations? Probably not.
fair point. No. So we need to go deeper. What's an example of a why that actually works? What makes it personal enough?
It has to really connect, touch your heart or your actual life in a concrete way. I loved that story we found about the traveler, remember? Trying to get a better price for a hostel somewhere in South America.
Oh, yeah.
Knew the words, theoretically, but when the moment came, just froze, lost in negotiation. And it wasn't just about the money. It was the confidence hit, right?
Yeah.
That missed connection with the person behind the desk. That feeling, that specific feeling of like lost opportunity, that became their why.
Wow. Okay. That's really potent. It's not just about language proficiency. It's about avoiding that specific feeling of, inadequacy or missing out.
Exactly.
So for you listening, maybe your why is more career focused, like really wanting to feel absolutely confident, maybe even authoritative when you share your ideas in those big international meetings.
Knowing your language skills aren't holding back your actual expertise, that's a powerful driver.
So-
Or, it could be pure passion, wanting to read your favorite author in the original, or watching a film and catching all those little jokes, the nuances, without needing subtitles.
Right. Things close to the heart.
Right.
Specific things.
Yes. The best reason is the one that genuinely sparks something in you. Excitement, determination. Maybe it's the one that makes you actually smile when you picture achieving it. That future success.
Okay, so once we've hopefully pinned down that personal strong reason, we then need to look at the different types of energy, right? Because they affect us differently. Which brings us to this core distinction. I like how you put it earlier, the difference between the wind and the fire. Let's start with the wind. External motivation. Energy from the outside.
Right. External motivation is all about those pushes and pulls from the world around you. Pressure, rewards, things outside your own internal desires.
Like a teacher setting a big exam next month.
Exactly. Or a parent promising cash for good grades. Or maybe your boss saying you need that language certificate for the promotion. All external.
And what's fascinating, I think, is that this kind of motivation, it can be incredibly strong, at least initially.
Oh, absolutely.
If you've got that exam next week, you will study. The research backs that up. It gives you this huge, immediate burst of speed.
Definitely.
But, and here's the big but, that speed is fundamentally short-lived.
That's the structural weakness, isn't it? External motivation only works as long as the external thing is actually there, applying pressure.
Right.
Exam's over, boss stops asking, got the certificate, poof. The reason to study just evaporates.
You stop because the wind pushing you just died down.
Exactly.
But hang on, can we just pause there, play devil's advocate for a second?
Sure.
Isn't that external push sometimes necessary just to like kickstart the whole thing? I mean, thinking personally, if my company hadn't initially insisted on better communication skills, maybe I never would have even started.
That's a really fair point. And yeah, external pressure can definitely provide that initial friction, let's say, enough to get the engine turning over.
Gets you off the couch.
It does. Gets you off the couch, into the chair. But the moment that pressure eases off, the whole thing grinds to a halt, unless you've got something internal ready to take over. You can't rely on just the wind to sail you all the way around the world.
Not the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that transition brings us neatly to the sustainable source. Internal motivation.
Yeah.
The energy from the inside.
Yeah. This is the good stuff. This is the fuel that comes straight from your own values, your dreams, your deepest sense of who you are and who you want to be.
The desire to connect, maybe pride in getting good at something or just loving the culture.
All of that. And the key difference is, unlike those external drivers, these reasons are totally yours.
Right. Nobody else assigns them. Nobody can take them away.
Exactly. And because this motivation is rooted up inside you, in your identity, your life goals, it just lasts infinitely longer. You're not studying to please someone else anymore. You're studying to achieve your dream trip or your ultimate career confidence. That commitment sticks because it's fundamentally tied to who you aspire to be.
So if external is the wind pushing you briefly, internal is the fire inside your chest.
That's it.
That fire just keeps burning. Doesn't matter what the weather's like outside. It's your own heat, your own light.
Beautifully put. But the trick is maintaining that fire. Unlike external pressure, which just sort of happens to you,
Right.
internal motivation needs tending, daily connection, feeding. It's not enough to just figure out your why once and then forget about it. You have to keep reminding yourself.
Which leads us perfectly into the practical side. Okay, we found the fire, maybe. How do we keep it stoked without, burning ourselves out trying? And the research we looked at offers this really brilliant, practical daily habit, a 5-minute solution, they call it, designed specifically to strengthen that internal drive.
Yes, and it cleverly bypasses the need for those long, intimidating study sessions that often feel like climbing a mountain.
Okay, I like the sound of that. 5 minutes.
Yeah, it works because it lowers the psychological barrier. The hardest part of anything is just starting it.
Totally.
So by making the commitment tiny and focusing it on connection and visualization, you kind of trick your brain into getting engaged. It's a simple 3-step daily practice. Connect with your reason, imagine your future, and then take one small action.
Okay, step 1. Connect with your reason. Every morning, you said. Before you even crack a book or open an app.
That's the advice. Precise instruction. Ask yourself, out loud ideally, why am I learning this today? And then, this is crucial, actually say the answer out loud or maybe write it down.
Get it out of your head and into the world.
Yes. It has to become physical. So you might say, I'm learning English because I want to give that presentation next month with zero fear. Or I want to feel that satisfaction ordering food confidently in Tokyo.
Why is saying it out loud so important? Just thinking it isn't enough.
Apparently not as effective. Saying it or writing it strengthens the neural link between the effort, the studying, and the reward, your why. If it stays just a thought, it's kind of abstract, floating around. When you speak it, you're reinforcing that personal contract with yourself, reminding yourself why today's 5 minutes matter for tomorrow's win.
Got it. Okay, step 2 is all about imagination. Moving from the why to actually picturing the success.
Right. Close your eyes just for 60 seconds. And don't just think about the goal, try to feel it.
Okay.
Really visualize yourself living that success. Hear your own voice, fluent, relaxed, maybe commanding the room. Feel the sun on your face while you're navigating that foreign city, no translator needed. The analysis really stresses. The more vivid, the more emotionally rich you make that image.
The stronger the motivation gets.
Exactly. You're basically creating this mental preview of the future you want. Makes the distant goal feel much more immediate, more achievable. It bridges that gap between today's effort and tomorrow's payoff.
Makes the abstract feel possible.
Love it. Okay, and step 3. You said this is maybe the most critical for consistency. Take one small action. Yes, and this is where we really need to pump the brakes on our natural instinct to be overly ambitious.
Guilty as charged. So what does small action really look like here?
It means genuinely small. Something that takes 5 minutes, maybe less. Could be listening to just one short segment of an English news podcast, writing 3 simple sentences about your day,
Okay.
or just learning one new word and maybe using it in a sentence you say to yourself. The key is, don't aim for an hour. Aim for 5 minutes.
Okay, now, I can hear our listeners already. You, the learner, you might be thinking, seriously, 3 sentences. That sounds nice, maybe a little confidence booster, but
Yeah.
does it actually build anything? Isn't that just too small to matter?
That skepticism is totally the default setting for anyone ambitious,
Yeah.
right? But we have to look at the science of how habits actually form. The real danger is setting the bar too high.
Right.
Committing to, say, 2 hours of study every day. For most people, that just guarantees burnout within a week. Why? Because the mental weight of starting something that big feels overwhelming?
Ah, that friction again, that resistance to just getting started.
Exactly. And when a task feels that daunting, what do? We procrastinate. We avoid it. The power of the small step, that 5-minute commitment, is that it virtually guarantees consistency.
Okay.
Doing 3 sentences every single day for a month builds a much stronger, more lasting habit than trying to cram 6 hours in one heroic session and then quitting for the next 3 weeks.
This is where that exercise analogy really clicks, isn't it?
It's perfect. Decide you're going to run a marathon tomorrow with no training. You'll push yourself, maybe get injured, and you definitely won't go near the gym for a month. Net gain, zero fitness.
Hmm.
But walk for 10 minutes every day, then maybe 12, then 15. Your body adapts, gets measurably stronger over time. The sources are crystal clear on this. Small, daily steps create real, sustained strength and fluency. Not those big, heroic, but totally unsustainable bursts.
Okay, scope problem addressed.
Yeah.
Small is strong. Now let's hit the other major motivation killer, that paralyzing fear of making mistakes.
Ah, yes, the big one.
So many learners just clam a pull, right? They worry their grammar is bad, their pronunciation's off, so they stop trying, which is like the ultimate motivation failure.
We absolutely have to flip the script on this. In learning, mistakes aren't problems to be avoided. They are fundamentally part of the process.
Okay.
The research really encourages viewing them as teachers, like little signposts that point out exactly where your knowledge needs a bit more attention.
That's a powerful reframe. So instead of seeing a mistake as like a big red F,
Yeah.
it's more like a little flashing light saying, hey, look over here. This bit needs practice.
Precisely. And think about this. Making a mistake isn't actually a sign of failure. It's a sign of courage. It's proof of progress.
How so?
Because it means you were brave enough to try, to communicate, to put yourself out there, even when you weren't 100% sure. Honestly, most people who want to learn a language, they never even get that far. They never make the attempt. You are trying.
So if I stumble and say, like, I am eating a bread, okay, it's grammatically iffy.
Right.
But it's proof I'm actually trying to use the present continuous, trying to use articles, even if I got the countability of bread wrong in that moment.
Exactly. Every single mistake is concrete evidence that you are actively engaged in a challenging, worthwhile process. It means you're strong enough to stumble momentarily. And remember, these mistakes, they're temporary.
They don't stick.
They don't define you. They don't last forever. And honestly, sometimes mistakes can even be funny. They can open the door to a shared laugh or maybe a kind correction from someone that actually builds connection. We need to change the view. Mistakes are just practice. They're not permanent problems.
Okay, this has been a really, really necessary exploration, I think, into the mechanics of how we keep that learning engine running. So just to quickly recap the big takeaways. Motivation. That's the real missing piece.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your internal motivation, that personal, deeply felt why. That's the strongest, longest lasting fuel. Way better than any external pressure.
Absolutely. And you feed that internal fire with that simple daily practice. Say your reason out loud. Vividly imagine your future success for just a minute. And then commit to one tiny 5-minute action.
Right.
Because that starts this really robust positive feedback loop. The analysis shows it clearly. This creates a powerful chain reaction. Small actions build consistent habits. Consistent habits build real confidence.
And confidence.
Confidence is the absolute bedrock for fluency. You can't get fluent without it.
That confidence, built one tiny step at a time, that's the ultimate prize. Okay, so we've established mistakes aren't failures. They're actually proof you're brave enough to engage, brave enough to try. So we'll leave you with this final, maybe slightly provocative thought to chew on as you go into your day tomorrow. Given that learning requires that courage, requires making mistakes, what's the next step you'll take that pretty much guarantees you won't make a new productive mistake? Go find that courage, keep feeding that fire, and keep moving forward.